So I heard this thing this morning, which was on the radio. I listened to, do you know Conscious FM?
No, it's but I really like the name.
Yeah, it's nice.
Yeah,
it's really nice.
Conscious FM.
Conscious reggae music and chatting and stuff. I just always have it on in the background. And this guy was saying getting in a comfort zone is the I can't remember what he actually said, but the killer of ambition. Like
killer of dreams or ambition.
The killer of dreams and ambition. And I thought, nah. I get it in context. Have we started already?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's how we start. We just kind of straight into it.
Okay, so I get it in context. Look, now I'm getting nervous. I'm like, oh my god.
Nah, come on.
So I was thinking about that, and I was like, because he was saying, if you start getting comfortable, if you've got a comfortable life, then you just stop following your dreams. But then it's the other way. So then there's this other guy that I listened to. I had this playlist that it was in one of my yoga teachers did it as a playlist, and there was this really interesting guy talking on it about, I can't remember what it was. It's like saying, let me just think of the exact words. It's about causing chaos in the world, as an individual. And what this guy was saying, I think it's Buddhist. I don't know actually, but I think she's Buddhist. Anyway, maybe I just. But basically, it's saying if you can become content with food, shelter, and companionship, those are the only three things that we actually need, and those people are the ones that. The people that can be content with food, shelter, and companionship are the ones that can move forwards to supporting other people and developing in a more I suppose spiritual and kind of different kind of way. But those who aren't content with that, who want so many different things, I want this and this and this and this and this, they just cause chaos in the world.
Because they would be going out the way to do something for their own gain that will affect other people or affect other people's gain. Yeah. In terms of access to those basic things that we need.
Yeah.
But it's interesting because technically both people are kind of saying, but that's the thing. So what's the correlation between being content and being comfortable? Is that the same thing, or would you say the two different things? Don't.
Yeah, no, I think those are two different things, aren't they? Because contentness, you can be content when I think being content is a very, very wonderful place to get to. And I think for me, that's what it's like. Practicing gratitude creates this contentedness.
It's kind of it's just a state of being, right? Just being content.
And it's hard.
And I think for me it connects to peace as well a little bit.
Yeah.
I think peace comes with being content. But then also, it's interesting because at what point does the person go, I'm content enough not to make certain progress in my life?
Yeah, but I don't think that's what I was thinking as well. It's actually this guy talking unconscious saying, I get it. If you just if you're just comfortable and then you don't want to go further. I don't know. I feel a bit.
But you know what? So I have a different spin. I have a different spin on this, and this is something that's come up for me recently. And I was having the same conversation with the lad yesterday actually, and I was saying that actually, for a while, I went through this stage of being content and just being comfortable. I guess comfortable, content. But I was still trying to achieve stuff. I was still trying to learn about myself and the world and so on, so on. But now I realize actually I'm getting to the stage where I actually want to have money, and what I mean by that is I want to be financially free from having to do certain things in order to live.
Yeah.
So I want to have enough money to go, you know what, I don't want to limit myself to having certain life experiences. For example, let's say I want to do 6 or 7 different holidays throughout the year, but then I go, you know what, I don't have enough annual leave at work. I don't have enough annual leave days. Or then I go, or maybe I don't have enough money to pay for all of those holidays. So I'm you know what, with financial freedom, some of those barriers get tackled. So I want to actually, I've realized that I live this one life,
Yeah.
this one life, and it's like, why would I stop myself from experiencing this life in the best way possible? You know, like there's so many different things to experience in life, right?
Yeah.
So I'm like, how can I put myself in that position? Or this one I'm working on now, I'm trying to put myself in that position. I am putting myself in that position. Let me just be clear, where I get to experience life the best way I can possibly.
Yeah, I think the difficulty is sometimes when we're talking about, I want financial freedom, and that's where my happiness lies. And I know that's not what you said, but but people can get caught up in chasing the finance. Do you know what I mean? And actually, if we're chasing money, for me, it's like the root of all evil. It's like, how can this concept of value that we put on money, it's like, why do I get paid a certain amount as a youth worker, and my job is like, I'm professional, I'm excelling in my work, I put my all into it.
I think that's our own fault, like, so as a youth worker as well, I'm gonna say it like that.
Yeah.
And what I mean by that is that we almost shoot ourselves in our own foot, because basically, like, we would almost work for free because we care about you know what I mean. Yeah. So like, we don't actually
work for free.
Yeah, we don't really set ourselves up to be like, you know what, these are our standards and this is how much we're gonna do this work for. A good example is, remember the story of like when people were doing public speaking, like motivational speaking, but they were doing it in schools. Yeah. So in early stages, like they were charging a certain, I can't remember what the amount was, but let's say someone would charge someone like £6,000 to go do like a 30-minute speech, right? And then what started happening, it's like there's people that realize there's money in it, and people started kind of becoming public speakers and started doing it as well. And then as time went on, they started charging less and less. And then eventually it's got down to like, let's say as an example, like £2,000, where like people are just like, actually, whoa, like sometimes it might not be worth my time or putting effort into it and stuff. So it's almost like, as a community as well of youth workers, sometimes we have to go, you know what, I'm not going to do it for this much.
Definitely,
we have to,
And also, that's also our responsibility to not expect other youth workers to come and do shit for free. Oh, am I not meant to swear?
No, you can. Cool. You can swear.
Okay, good. But that's not actually what I was getting at. In context of money and value, it's like, that's a very good and valid point, and we should value ourselves highly, because we are highly valued. But in context of money, it's like let's say me as a youth worker here in the UK, and then me as a youth worker in Kenya, or a Kenyan woman as a youth worker in Kenya, and we're doing the same kind of work, and we're getting paid the same kind of, in the same pay bracket in our countries, and yet the Kenyan woman, her money is so much less in context of the global economy than mine. Why? Like, that's because of that. That's where I see. So for me, if we're going to make any kind of like radical change in the world, it has to be around the economics. Do you know what I mean? It has to be around changing the economics of the world. Because why is it that we can, even going on holiday and stuff like that, it's like, like a lot of my friends and family in Kenya, they can't go abroad. They can't, even in context of like getting a flight and stuff like that, it's all in pounds and in dollars. It's like, why? Like that, it's just part of, that is like the key to actual world freedom. Well, like world freedom is like, that's what I mean. Like, money is the root of all evil, It's like, why is it that we can have such different values in different parts of the world? It's terrible.
So I think for me also, there's another thing about money. So I used to think that as well. I used to think money is the root of all evil for years. Yeah. But recently, like my mind's always changing and stuff. Like recently, like I've come to a conclusion for me that money is only what we agree the money is. Yeah. What two parties agree that money means between the two parties. Yeah. Sort of thing. And that's the thing. It's like, and just going back to the whole thing of like having money, right? So for instance, if you, let's say, had a business that's generating like loads of income, you could potentially go and say, you know what, I'm going to pay youth workers 3 times more than the paid. So that's the thing. So I'm like, now I'm getting to the point of like, I want to put myself in a position of power to do that.
A financial power.
Yeah, it's like, because that's the thing.
Capital.
Yeah, exactly. Because that's the thing. Unless I put myself in that position, then I'm never going to be able to do it. You know, I can always say this should happen, but like sometimes you have to be leading the change, or be the people that's making that change.
Yeah, for sure.
Do you know what I mean? But yeah, so what's the other thing you want to talk about?
Well, I was thinking dreams are always interesting.
Yeah. Like dreams, like what kind of dreams? Dreams as in like life goals and life vision, or like dreams as in like
when you're sleeping dreams.
But that's the thing, I can't remember most of them, or like, yeah.
Have you ever kept a dream diary?
No, I haven't.
It's really cool. Because obviously, so for me, I'm really interested in the subconscious. Like my mum is a psychotherapist, yeah. And she's always been very interested in dreams and understanding your subconscious. And for me, it's fascinating because the amount of time we spend sleeping and what our minds do when we're sleeping is like such a huge part of our life. Do you know what I mean? And how do we access that kind of area of knowledge, really? Because often we don't remember and stuff like that. Like I don't keep I've kept a dream diary like for a little bit. And then I haven't done it because you have to get really into a rhythm, because you have to write it down straight away because you forget. So keeping a dream diary, but my mum's kept it for like years and years and years and years and years. And now, like, I think since I was about 4, she's kept it. Wow. So that's, like 30 years, you know. And so now when she has recurring dreams, she can look back and read about the same dream and actually what has changed and what has happened. Yeah,
that's interesting. I've had recurring dreams as well before.
Yeah, it's really yeah, they're really impressive. But like it's tapping into something that is like we don't pay enough attention. I think we don't pay enough attention to it. And it's like in previous cultures, in older cultures, you would spend a lot longer discussing dreams, and it would be more of a discussion. So I've heard, like more of a discussion of what's been going on, you know, it's more of a part of our lives. Whereas now it kind of feels like
it just happened, move on.
Yeah. And I'm not even going to think about it. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Like,
I don't remember my actual, like, so that's the thing, like nightmares are dreams as well, but I don't remember like the normal dreams, or like, you know, I just know I can't run in the normal dreams. Like that's something around gravity, which is funny. Like, no, I don't. Can you run in your dreams?
Yeah.
You can?
Yeah.
You can run?
I can run.
I can't run in my dreams.
I can't run in real life. No,
Seriously, I can't run in my dreams. But anyway, so I only remember like 2, I think I remember like 2 nightmares I've had.
Yeah.
But like obviously I don't remember in detail exactly, but because they were such powerful nightmares, or like they made me like, they put me in like a state of shock.
Yeah.
Where like it just kind of like stay there.
Yeah.
And there's this other like assumption I have of, so intuition.
Yeah.
Because you spoke about subconscious, right?
Yeah.
So I think intuition is really just our subconscious telling us things. So, you know, when someone goes, oh my God, my intuition is telling me don't do this, or this person's this, or whatever, I really think that subconscious has already like made a decision, or has already identified something, and they're just sending the signal to the consciousness where like people go, oh, that's my intuition telling me. Yeah.
And then our intuition gets crushed by our social kind of behavior that we have to do. Like that's what I'm doing with the Lutadores. Not completely, but like some of the work that like my work that I want to do with the Lutadores is around like our powerful feminine intuition that is then like basically squished by concepts of like, you know, women should be nice, and like you should always be nurturing, and you shouldn't be aggressive, and these kind of things, where actually that's just stopping your natural intuition from coming out, which is really, really hard. But I think intuition and your subconscious and like what's going on inside you is really, really powerful. And if you can get there and get to knowing yourself more and more and more, I think that's life, isn't it? Like if we can grow in knowledge of ourselves, of our true deep down selves, then that's some powerful stuff. And that's why it's interesting, because people always say like, you know, I'm getting old, and I've never I've never had a feeling of negativeness towards me aging. Like, I don't think I'm old now. I like that I'm getting towards being an elder. I'm excited about when I am actually a proper elder, and I'm excited about my life journey.
Love that.
And continuing. Do you know what I mean? And I know that in this society, people are often like, you know, oh, I've turned 18. Oh man, I'm getting old. Or I've turned 21. Or now I'm getting old. And it's like but even 30, like I've noticed when a lot of my friends or my sisters turn 30, it was like tragic, you know. And you're thinking, for me, I'm getting to know myself more and more and more, and I'm getting to know what I want in my life and who I want in my life and where I want to be in my life. And you know, I think it's a powerful thing to become older, and and not all of us get to do it. And actually that gratefulness for my continued life and my continued living it's really, that's what I want, you know. That's what I think. I think it's sad when people get sad about getting older. It's a bit like,
no, I don't. That's not. I can't relate to. As in, like, I can relate to what you're saying. As I'm excited to kind of like get older. You know, like what. Yeah, and I think in life it's just that thing of like, every single thing has got pros and cons, yin and yang. Like every single thing, it's like there's there's pros of being younger, there's pros of being older. Like every single thing, but it's just more about like appreciation and gratitude for the stage that we're at the moment.
Yeah.
And you know, I was gonna say, you mentioned growth, but like, what does growth mean to you? Because I have another like concept of growth as well.
What does growth mean to me? I suppose growth, for me, it would be like nourishment. Do you know what I mean? Like seeing growth is about. It's like, if you think about it in context of nature, it's about nourishing development, I suppose.
Yeah. Do you know what's funny? You spoke about nature, and like sometimes people go like, what's the purpose in life? Because you know, like a lot of people are trying to find purpose. And I think there's multiple purposes. It's like there might be a purpose someone as an individual might have a purpose in general. But I think when people talk about purpose in life, like you don't ever go to a tree or like a flower and go like, what's the purpose in life? Like the purpose is to grow. The purpose is to live. That's why it's called life. The purpose is to live. But going back to growth, so the thing about growth, I don't believe in growth anymore.
Okay.
Obviously, I think people grow physically, I think that's a thing. So physically, I believe in growth physically, like things grow, plants grow, you know, we change.
We grow.
So, but I think when it comes to growth, I think it's more about change, and like I think we constantly change. Yeah. Like I was going through a bunch of different quotes. I was going through my work laptop, and I was just like clearing up my files and all of that stuff the other day. And I was going through like my quote folder that I've had. And I remember I made that folder like 3-4 years ago, and I put a bunch of different quotes in there that I loved. And I was going through those quotes. Actually, half of them I can't relate to no more.
Really?
Yeah, so that's the thing. That's cool. And that time was just, things were looking like, yeah, this is growth, that's growth. And now I'm just like, actually, I'm just constantly changing all the time. I can watch the same movie that I watched 3 years ago and think that it's either even better than it was before, or think that it's worse than, but what I realize is just me, I'm constantly changing. And sometimes, you know what's not measurable, it's like, how much do we change on a day-to-day basis that we don't even realize? And we spoke about like subconscious and stuff. And it's like, I'm not the same person that I was yesterday in a weird way, because I might have learned something yesterday that's already changed my perspective a little bit. Yeah. So sometimes it's like, and that's why I don't believe in growth, because like sometimes change can be like, I might even reverse to an older mindset if it adds value to me. Yeah. But like, what does growth mean? But I know what growth means in terms of like what we're talking about, but.
No, but it's also interesting. So it's interesting what you were saying about change, because Hannah said to me recently, humans find change quite difficult, but it's the only constant in our lives. So I was like, that's pretty cool. Yeah. Which is true. Like everything is always changing continuously. And it's interesting what you're saying about growth, because like watching Elijah grow up, like, so now how old is he? He's not like 19 months, a year and a half. And watching the way that he is learning is like, I don't think we can ever learn like that ever. We lose that ability to learn in the way that children, babies and toddlers do, because it's like he can just suck up all of the stuff that's going on around him. And like that curiosity. I mean, we couldn't be as curious as a toddler for our whole lives.
But this is what I was going to ask you. Do you think we lose it, or do you think we stop using it?
I think both of them. I think we stop using it. But it's like, so say his curiosity. So if we're walking down the street and he's walking by himself, which we try to do most of the time, then he will stop at, at a letterbox, and then at a thing on the floor, and then at a little bolt sticking out, and then at a flower, and then you're walking down a short street, and it can take you like half an hour or an hour. Do you know what I mean? Which is amazing. It's like super incredible to watch his curiosity at that point. And that is something that I think you couldn't go through life like that, because it's too much. Do you know what I mean? It's like if me as an adult, like on my way to work,
it's like you've got shit to do.
Yeah, exactly. I couldn't do that, but as a baby, or as a toddler, like that's incredible thing to be able to do. And that kind of growth that you do in that age is like maybe unparalleled to any other growth that we do later on.
Do you think it's a thing of like we've already identified or made up our mind on what those things are?
What things are? Oh yeah.
Like whatever it is, like
that's
that Elijah's discovery. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So obviously not to say that we're correct with what we identified it as, because loads of people will think it's a different thing. Most commonly, people will think it's that same thing anyways.
Yeah.
But just see it differently. But the thing is, like, do you think it's that? Do you think we already identified it, and now we're just like, unless we revisit, and I think that's why revisiting something is really powerful. And I guess I'll put it in a way of like just revisiting a relationship we have with something. It's not always a relationship with the person, because sometimes we can have relationships with material things and just things around us, with the relationship with the world and ourselves, and so on and so on. So sometimes it's about going, you know what, I thought that's that from a young age. I might have made up my mind around something, but it's powerful to just revisit and go, you know what, actually let me look at this one more time, and see if it's actually that. And I think maybe I think that's what babies do from early. They try to identify what is what, and I think maybe they're developing a mindset around how they perceive stuff. Because then you have to think about it. It's like where did our like perception around things come? It came from growing up and just being curious and exploring and
and if he grew up in a different country, or if he grew up in the middle of somewhere else, he would grow in that environment and just totally be in that environment. It's like a tiny baby that's born in Japan will learn Japanese. A tiny baby that's born in England will learn English. Do you know what I mean? It's like our ability to grow within our society is like crazy.
And that's the thing. And this goes back to like when it comes, now it's my youth worker hat's coming back on. So when it comes to like young people in general, it's like, and I think this is why the society needs to be a bit more conscious around what they expose young people to. And and sometimes the exposure might not even be just at home. It might just be like outside of, they might like someone could be having like a fight or something, but they're still being exposed. They're experiencing something that could potentially influence on, their perception. On everything. Like those. So that's the thing, I think. And I think that's why people need to be more aware of like conversations they're having with people, things they're doing around people, and so on, because everything's got an effect on something. Yeah,
definitely. It's like advertising as well, like Elijah will look like when we were on the tube or something, or when you go up the escalators and then you're like looking at all those things, and when you're doing it, you're like just looking and looking. But then when I'm watching Elijah doing it, I'm like, whoa, that is really intense. It's like picture. Do you know what I mean? It's like affecting me. And I think I was chatting to Janique, and she was saying like now she's just like, I can't even deal with this. And actually, how can we protect ourselves from I think the advertising industry is it's a pretty dangerous tool of manipulation. Probably it's one of the biggest tools of manipulation that is around.
Do you know what's funny? Yeah, not to say that just because I have it, not to say that everyone else has it as well. But you know what's funny? I don't actually give a shit about the adverts.
You don't give a shit about the adverts.
And doesn't impact me at all. Like,
so why are you wearing the clothes that you're wearing?
That is a great question. That's because I chose to get them.
You chose to get them.
I chose to get them.
But why are you wearing?
Because I like the way they look.
Why do you like the way that they look?
But see the stuff that I bought, just to be clear, they were not on adverts.
But you're wearing clothes that fit in with society.
What else is there to buy?
Yeah, that's a good question. Yeah. You could make your own clothes.
Yeah, like what else is there to buy?
That's what's interesting, isn't it? It's like we say, and you have to be. I think we should try and be as conscious as possible to not be affected by it.
I see your point. Like I think you got a good point, because like it's like, what is our society, and maybe like what is influenced by the advertising or whatever. Because maybe I did buy something that's been influenced by that. But what I mean is like, so when I see when there's adverts coming up on my YouTube, or if I'm out in public, whatever, I don't actually pay attention to them whatsoever. Yeah. I don't consume them. I don't intake the adverts.
But how do you stop that subconsciously, and how do you know that's not happening subconsciously?
Because if I'm not paying attention to it, I'm not gonna consume the information.
I see what you're saying, and I think that's a really positive place to be. But say, for example, but I'm not sure.
But also, that's my experience. If someone else's experience could be completely different.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
But I'm also thinking like, I wouldn't want to underestimate the power of the advertising industry and how they have like basically studied human behavior for years and years and years to influence them, to influence us to buy things and to hate ourselves basically, and to hate each other, and to create this really mad, weird society that.
Oh, for sure, I agree with that. I think that's definitely what the intention is.
Yeah, it's all about money, isn't it? Really, money is all evil. But it's like, say for example, myself. Let's look at like female body image, and being a woman and feeling confident in your own self. And even though, let's say me, like I try not to pay attention to things and stuff like that, but it is always a constant battle, because there is so many images all the time, everywhere, of naked women. Do you know what I mean? Everywhere. Even now when we're saying, like, we can't deny that. Do you know what I mean? You go into Westfield. Even the other day I was like walking into Westfield, and I was like, on one side you got a massive thing, when you cross over that bridge from the old Stratford Centre, and there's that Marks and Spencer's. And on the Marks and Spencer's one, there's this huge woman in, like, not huge as in big, obviously, they're all skinny. Huge woman in her lingerie, yeah, like massive, like I don't know how many times the size of a person, but like this massive woman that's basically naked. And then on the other side, you've got a huge picture of this man that's fully clothed and looking really like, I don't know, powerful, intelligent, like moving forwards. Do you know what I mean? Like completely dressed. And that, like, it just struck me. I was like, it's just totally everywhere, like all the time. And even though what I say is I want to be conscious of what's going on. So rather than not looking at it, I'm looking at it and I'm analysing it. Do you know what I mean? I'm looking at the advertisement. I'm thinking, what are they doing? What are they trying to say? Like right here, these two images, one of a man and one of a woman. What is that saying to me? What are they trying to say to me subconsciously?
But you know what? But just going back to the thing of like, so you said it's a battle, but then the way you're winning the battle is by
analysing it.
But also overcoming, just empowering yourself. It's about self-empowerment. You're empowering, you kind of go, you know what, actually, I understand what you're trying to do. Yeah. And I'm not going to fall for that. Yeah. And I have a mind of my own. Yeah. And that's the point I was trying to get to.
But I also think, although I say I've got a mind of my own, I also understand the influence that images can have on me. So say, for example, one thing that I do that Vicky influenced me to do, she said that she had an Instagram which was making her feel really negative. So she's created a new Instagram that was only full of positive things. So on my Instagram, I follow a lot of bigger women and a lot of like women that are very comfortable in sort of putting out images there of their like underdressed, but them in their little bikinis and stuff like that, to counter the images that I'm getting all the time. Do you know what I mean? So it's like I also am in making sure that there's other images that are coming to me, which maybe is a positive side of access to social media. Maybe not sure if there is many positive sides to it, but like having those images, having a counter image is really important. Do you know what I mean? It's
that makes sense.
Counter image.
And I think that's the beautiful thing about Instagram. It's a weird thing to say, but that's the beautiful thing about Instagram. It's like we get to choose on like what we follow. But
then you don't, because then they influence you, and they those algorithm things.
I can totally go on my Instagram right now and follow certain pages.
Yeah, of course, but also they're like, oh, follow this person. You're like,
do you know what my favorite thing with Instagram is? And this is not to you. This is just to people in general. Like, if you don't like it, just delete it.
Yeah, but addiction is real.
Yeah, I guess maybe like the dopamine.
Addiction's super real.
But you know what? This kind of goes back to, see, from the conversation we're having.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like even in a couple episodes before, like, awareness has come up quite a few times. That awareness is super important. But I think now, even having this conversation is just like, I think people just being aware is already like the first step to empowering themselves. Because I think once the awareness is there, then it's kind of like the hard work begins in terms of like making certain changes and just implementing certain strategies in life that can, you know, counter these like things where someone's being influenced or...
Yeah, I think that's true. Awareness is really important as long as you are willing to change that awareness. So say, for example, when we're talking about racism and people are saying, you know, like, I'm not racist or something like that. And that concept of like, you need to realize that we live in a racist society, and you need awareness of the everyday racisms that is going on in your own mind because you are influenced by society. So I think the way to become anti-racist is to like be aware of racism that's going on in your own head and challenge that at all points. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think it is about awareness, but you can't just be like, oh, I'm aware of racism, or I'm aware of sexism, or I'm aware of any of the isms and schisms that are going on. You have to be aware that is or I'm aware of like body image fuckeries that are going on all the time. You have to be aware. You can't underthink. Remember what we were talking about the other day about underthinking is definitely you have to be aware, and then you have to challenge them at all times. Oh, this is really in my way, isn't it?
Yeah. So the other thing I was going to add, is that I think conversation is super important.
Yeah, definitely.
And that's the thing. And sometimes it's like, I don't expect people to be aware if they haven't had a certain conversation that can potentially make them aware, or they haven't been exposed to certain piece of information, or they haven't read something. So I think even reading, is a conversation. I think when someone reads something, that's a conversation.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's about the conversation that's happening internally as well.
Yeah.
Within ourselves too. So yeah, I think conversation is really important. And I think going back to, you spoke about challenge, and I think this is why people need to start having certain conversations and challenging people that are aware already with people that are unaware, sort of thing.
What? Say again?
So like people that, let's say for instance, like we're aware of certain things, right? So we should be taking the lead to have certain conversations with people that are not aware of certain things.
Yeah, for sure.
But that's the thing. At the end of the day, we can always have the conversation, and it's almost like an invitation for them to come and look at things from a different point of view.
Yeah.
But they might not even accept it. They might still go back to their ignorant ways of like...
Yeah, of course. Yeah, it has to be... it has to be an ongoing thing. And there's no point in having... Like, that's why I don't like that concept of debating. I think it's really like a really negative thing, because it's like, if we're having a debate, the way that we learn to have a conversation when we're in school or whatever, or like... that weird stuff that they do in Parliament, and this weird concept of debating is like, I've got a point, I'm going to fight it to the end. You've got a point, you're going to fight it to the end. And that's just like, that's not developing knowledge. That's not creating something that we come to together. I like conversations rather than Like it's a dialogue, isn't it? If we're having a dialogue and we're opening up concepts and ideas, then that's where new knowledge is formed. It's not about I'm right and you're wrong.
Yeah, but then that's the thing. So then I would highlight another point where like not every single person knows how to have a conversation.
Yeah, for sure.
You know,
and a lot of people have too many conversations with themselves on Instagram.
Or
on social media.
And being able to have the right conversation or having a right way, and I think that's a skill in itself.
Yeah, I think someone said once, rather than, you can say, I'm going to call you out. I think it's Darcy. She was saying, I'll call you in. So it's quite nice. Yeah. Rather than being like, whatever, you're a dickhead because of this. It's like, well, actually, let's discuss this and open up that concept.
Call you in.
I'll call you in. Come here. Let's have a chat about that.
Language is fine. I love language actually, and the way it's used and stuff.
You're a linguist.
Well, welcome back. Welcome forward.
Or the weekend.
We're not going back. Like, have we actually?
The week beginning, weekend.
Oh yeah, the weekend.
Or like, I understand or I overstand.
Do you know what? Actually, it just reminded me of something. So I had this thought the other day. So like, so I always say that, like, people only have like one birthday and it's the day they're born, right?
Yeah.
And then I was actually reflecting on that because I was like, why do I keep on saying it? And then I realized I don't have an issue with the calendar, but a calendar is just like a measurement system of the days we have, right?
Yeah.
And then I was thinking, and I wrote this down. I was thinking like, who's in control? Yeah. Is it the calendar or me? And it's almost like, why do I have to like wait for the calendar to tell me what I need to appreciate and what I should be celebrating? Mm-hmm. So it's like, am I actually in charge of my life? Or is the calendar in charge of my life?
And for sure. And time and calendars is really interesting. But another thing that's interesting about calendars is, the first calendars were like around a 28-day cycle and like the moon and stuff like that. And, we always think about, men being all in the most intelligent and stuff. But who is it that needs a 28-day cycle of a calendar that's in context of the moon? Do you know what I mean? It's women. It's our cycles that have that calendar and have that flow and stuff like that. I thought that was really cool. I was like, yeah,
that is cool.
We made up the calendar, but now you're looking at it in a kind of negative way. So
no, it's not. Like I don't think it's if anything, like that's the thing. It comes down to perspective. I don't think it's a negative way. No, it's true. I think it's about empowerment. It's going, actually, I don't need to wait for a calendar to tell me it's Women's Day, International Women's Day, or I can do that any day I want to.
Yeah, for
sure. Because why would I? It's almost like the calendar is going to dictate what I'm going to be doing on certain days. It's it's like the New Year's is coming up, so it's going to dictate that I'm going to be celebrating New Year's. It's
it's weird, isn't it?
Yeah, it's really weird. It's like it needs to remind me that I'm alive. Like I've just had another year gone by. Like it's mad.
I quite like it when there's different calendars though. So it's like, today's New Year's in this calendar, but then in 12 days time, it's New Year's in someone else's calendar. And then it's a different New Year's in someone else's calendar. And it's like, I quite like that. Like realizing that there's different calendars. That's pretty cool. Do you know what I mean?
And going back on the age thing, because we started with it, you was talking about like, some people are not comfortable with like getting older and stuff.
Yeah.
You know what? I found this like really cool way of looking at age. Like rather than saying how old someone is, it's just like going like, what level are you at?
Yeah.
It's like, and the age is the level basically.
Yeah.
It's like level 1, level 2, level 3. It's like, what level are you at in life?
Cool.
It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. If you look at years as levels, that's one level. We completed one level.
Bling.
We just started the next. Yeah, it's a cool way of looking at it. It doesn't have like the, actually Mikash, he would ask, how young are you?
Yeah.
Which has a more positive like way of asking someone's age. It's like how young are you rather than how old.
Positive.
Because it's almost like people have this kind of negative like sort of association with old, I guess. Maybe. Yeah.
They do, yeah.
Which is mad. Do you have like I'm not gonna ask you this actually. Do you do affirmations?
Do I do affirmations?
Yeah.
What do you mean by affirmations?
So I was going to ask you, so I've started doing something recently, so the question is coming from something I'm doing, but do you have like a morning routine, or like do you...
Yeah. Sometimes it gets interrupted with a little toddler waking
up. I know, now it does, but even, okay, let's say prior to...
No, I've actually done it more since Elijah's been born. And the first thing that I do is stick my head out the window and breathe fresh air, which I like.
I grab my phone, so
yeah.
it's not. I don't really start my day in the right way.
So I open the window. Well, the window's already open. I'll sleep with the window open. But yeah, put my head out the window and breathe.
I love that.
Yeah, and then I think the perfect thing to do is then writing down things that you're grateful for. Just 5 things that you're grateful for, and it's quite it's a very positive way to do it, because you can think about the day before, so you can be and you can try to do different things that you're grateful for, rather than, I'm grateful for my mom, I'm grateful for my dad. You can do different things, like I'm grateful for the rain yesterday, or I'm grateful that I was able, I don't know, you can do whatever, but that is super positive. And then in the future, what I would want to do, because I'm getting more and more into yoga, but I still don't really do it by myself. I only do it when I'm around, when we're doing it together in a class. In the future, I'd like to be able to do yoga in the morning as well, and do my own kind of flow, because I'm getting to the point where I believe that I can do my own thing with yoga. And that's really exciting, because it's like developing your sort of mind, body, spiritual connection. That's awesome. in a movement kind of way. So that would be the aim, but that's not happening yet, because I have to get Elijah up and
you've got some serious commitments.
Yeah, but that's not even for me. Yeah, yoga. I started doing yoga when I was in Brit school, so when I was like 16. So it's been a part of my life for ages, but now it's like, sorry, I get distracted. But now it's like since I got pregnant, so I've been doing yoga, and then getting quite into it, doing it like 3 or 4 times a week or whatever. And then I got pregnant, and that's when things really started to kick off for me, because I realized it gave me the freedom in the sessions. So I'd be going to a yoga session, and you're doing what the teacher's saying or whatever, la 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 la. But when you're pregnant, you can't do it. You can't do it in the same way. You have to listen to your own body. And I was able to do, like, my teachers knew me, and I've been doing it for years. So they were like, you know what to do, Katie. Let me give you some different examples of don't squish up your belly and don't lie on your front, and you're always giving your tummy space to breathe and to stretch out, basically. And it's really powerful for the baby. And it was at that point that I was like, I've got the freedom to do my own thing, because I'm pregnant, and I don't have to follow the class, and no one can, like, you've got this weird thing of like, maybe I shouldn't be doing my own thing. But since then, and then we went into lockdown, so a lot of it, I was just doing it in my room. So then you're really free to do whatever you want. You can go rolling off and doing your own thing, and then coming back and feeling like that movement in your own body and connecting movement with breath is like it's really, really powerful. So for me, it's not really a commitment. It's where I'm getting to when I'm older. Do you know what I mean? As I grow, that's what I want. That's what I want in my life. I want to be able to do my own practice every day, because that is super exciting for me. And that connection, you know what I was saying, connection to your subconscious and connection to your body, that's what I want. So yeah, it's really exciting.
Do you know what it just reminded me of? I can't remember the exact way it was written, but I remember reading this thing, and it's not even a quote, like it's not even a quote about someone. It was like a random note, and it was saying, don't let how you age change you, and it says change the way you age instead. So it's talking about like just implement certain things that will help people age healthier.
Because that's the thing. People say, you're getting older and you're getting more. When you're young, you're fit or something. But when I was 18, I was like not that fit. Like I was going out a lot. I was partying a lot. I wasn't looking after myself. I was eating badly. But I was able to do that because I was young. So yeah, my body could handle it. But now as I get older, I don't want to do that. I want to drink water.
You want to feel good.
I want to feel I feel good. I'm getting stronger and stronger and stronger, and like I think but it's interesting because it's like changing from boxing, because I love boxing, and me and Solomon still box together. But I don't really do boxing sessions other than that. Like it's good. like especially Elijah watching us engaging in that kind of way is a really positive thing, I think, for us as a family. But where I'm looking at where my strength is coming from, it's like I love boxing, but that's not the strength that I want now. The strength that I want is more a holistic strength of understanding my body and growing, because with yoga you're developing your whole body's muscles, so you're becoming strong in a way that's like is a very different form of strength to a boxing strength.
And just a body as a whole, really.
Your whole body is like you're getting strong. You're developing your wrist strength. You're developing your finger strength. You're developing your toe strength.
But you know what's funny? When I said, because core strength has got like a different meaning. Core strength means like abs and that sort. But what I mean by core strength, when I said core strength, was like as a whole, as a whole body. So yeah, just with a morning routine. Yeah, it's funny because like I've just implemented some things recently. So yeah, and I've just implemented some stuff recently, and yeah, like for me, it's made a big difference. Like just like for example, I started doing morning affirmations, and like the way it sets me up for the day. It's like on YouTube. It's like guided morning affirmations. But I used to be like not against it, but you know sometimes like having that belief of like what difference is that gonna make. But then I'm a fan of trying. I always say try stuff. So I tried it out, and I'm just kind of like adding a bunch of small little different things in my morning routine. Yeah, nice. I'll have my morning, and I realize that it sets me up for the day, and I have a much better day in general.
Well, with the God. Yeah,
but anyway, so as we're coming to an end, because we're running out of time now, we have a question that we like to ask every single guest that comes on the podcast.
Yeah, all right.
Yeah, so the question is, if you had opportunity to say something to 7.8 billion people, what would you tell them?
If I had an opportunity to say something to 7.8 people.
7.8 billion people. Did you say 7.8 people?
Oh, sorry.
7.8 billion people.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I'm more of a smaller kind of person. I'd rather talk locally. I'm more of a grassroots kind of person. So what would I think I'm going to think of it in terms of, I don't know, like loads of things, but I suppose, you know, we're all connected. And like, let's practice some serious love.
I like that.
Yeah.
Some serious love. I like that. Yeah.
Love isn't a joke.
I know what you meant by that. I like that. I love it.
That's what I would do. Say.
Cool. Thanks for coming.
Thanks for having me.